Hey, Danger, it's me, your old buddy Shake. Um, that's the reference none of you will probably get, but hey, it's okay. And first and foremost, this is no time for shits and giggles. This is gonna be one of those serious videos, so I don't know, have a seat and I guess listen. Today's subject matter is something I've been meaning to confess to a lot of people. I'm sure people online I've confessed this to. You guys know this about me, and you probably never even knew it about me with the way I am now. But I'm going to, for people that don't know, I'm going to come out and say that I am not a Christian anymore. I haven't been a Christian for several years, and oh man, that would be a huge surprise to all my family, all my real life friends, and some online friends I haven't talked to in a good minute. Um, but yeah, I'm coming clean, okay? Uh, I feel like maybe I've been lying to people, giving people the wrong idea, and that yeah, I'm coming out and saying it. I've been done with Christianity for a very long time, and I guess I don't want to just come out and say that. But I'll break down what happened just so you guys kind of get an understanding. And because honestly, to this day, I am a denouncer of religion and Christianity, especially because if I were a Christian to this day, I think I would have been dead by now. But that's not something I fuck around with. That I firmly believe, and I guess I'm going to tell my tale, and I don't know, maybe if I got time, I'll religious rant later on. But for now, I just want to come clean and tell you why. So it comes from a long buildup of things I've seen, things I've heard, in my life as a Christian, as a devout Christian as I was when I was a teenager. I was all about that shit. That was my life. That was my everything, and I gave it my all. I was active in my church. I was, actively applying it to my ways of life, no matter how fucking miserable it made me. But, you know, that was at it. And praying on constantly, trying to spread the word of God. Uh, yeah, that was me. Should start with what changed and why I'm here now. And I guess I'll answer some questions you may have. Uh, so this kind of goes back to, I'd say, maybe when I was 15. My church held this questionnaire, taboo questionnaire, and for maybe like really hard hitting questions or things that you wouldn't typically ask a Christian or things that might be hard for a Christian to answer. Um, so I thought that was very interesting, and I had one that I've had on my mind forever, and that was, can the likes of Hitler get into heaven? So, and they had this little like box you put your question in, and they draw them randomly, right? So I put mine in. Could it be possible for Hitler to get to heaven? And I was ready to hear, no, no way in fucking hell will Hitler ever get into the pearly gates with what he's done and what he's did. But come the questionnaire on Sunday, and I'm ready to hear them say no to my question. I just want to know like why it would be no. It seems pretty like no shit, but I kind of want to know more about no he wouldn't. Come Sunday, and I'm completely fucking surprised. They get to my question, and their answer, which baffled me and scarred me for life, is if Hitler got down on his knees after what he had done, lived his way through Jesus for the rest of his life, completely devout Christian, Hitler himself could make it to heaven. And this might be fucking weird to people. Um, to be like, wow, well, you're basing it off of this? Like, really? No, this is what I was young. I was 15, and this is kind of where everything sprouted. And that answer from these mentors, my pastors that I've known for my whole, it was like a panel of 5 people, all of them youth pastors, mentors, people I look up to, and they're the wisest people I know, the wisest people in the church. To hear that answer from them was it it really opened some doors for me, and I kind of carried that day with me forever. And since then I would just question my faith in everything all the time. I would, you know I felt like I was like clearing out some brainwashing or some shit because I would read the Bible and I would question things constantly. I was like, wait, isn't this a contradiction? I would read this book and I would just be stunned by some of the things they said and like the way you're supposed to be a Christian and like, the rules, the restrictions. It kind of all just started to like seem weird to me at some point. And so I kind of like was loosely on the idea of Christianity. I was always scared to leave it because it's all I've ever known in my life. There's not ever since the day I was a conscious, being. Did I say that right? I don't fucking know, but ever since I was, able to remember, all I've ever known is God. I don't remember a day where I didn't know God. Um, so to think that, none of this is really what it seems or might not even be real was hard to take. I was in denial. I was scared of the idea of, there's nothing. And, science was right all along because not only was I only so in the mindset of there is a God, I was a fucking debater. I was a debater against science and shit. That was me. I was so about this. But things started to really shift. And as life went on, I I carried it with me still, loosely. I mean, I would still do everything for God. And a friend of mine who I had known forever, she was really going through a tough time, and she was depressed. She had been depressed for a while, and she let me know. It was a friend that she trusted, someone she could come to. She was lonely. She didn't have anyone. She was really, really hurting, and all I would do, I would preach this God shit to her all the time. I would never talk heart to heart. I would always refer to the Bible. I would always just like give some fucking God speech. I would just tell her about how my life is great through Christ, and this is all I did because it was all I was. It's all I was ever told to do. I would ask, mentors, pastors, my youth pastors, what do I do when someone is feeling suicidal? And they say, love them, be there for them, and you know, show them, that God is the way and that God will save them. When you're in this place that shows you how to put all your eggs in one basket, that being God and nothing else. I really, I really went with this, and I come to find out a few months later of, she stopped talking to me eventually, and I find out a few months later, not a few, like maybe like a month, a couple months, that she had taken her own life. She had committed suicide, and I couldn't help her. And I was so confused and so mad and angry. It was the first time I had ever come to God, like, why? Why did you fucking do this? She was a nice person. She was innocent. I kind of was just like, fuck this, people leave when their time is ready bullshit. Like, an innocent person who had never hurt anyone just died. Someone who was just dealt a terrible, shitty fucking hand who needed help in life. She was never a bad person. Like, she she did everything she could to help herself. She really fought, and in the end, she just couldn't win. Why? She did everything. She listened to me. We'd hang out. She would seem happy, but in the end, it was too much for her, and she was gone. But at the time, I was so naive and so into this shit that all I could think was, yeah, that was God's plan for my friend to die. At the age of 16, yeah, that was it, and that's all I could tell myself in my denial state, and that's fucking sickening. I can't believe I even thought that at all. And eventually, I grieved and I moved on and I went back to my religion shit. And since then, all I've had is more questions and more concerns. I would bring this up, all of this, if anything that seemed wrong with the Bible, with religion, with how we do things, my beliefs, all of that, all I would ever be told by anyone is, oh, boy, you're lost. You need to pray. We'll be praying for you. And pretty much telling me to just not question anything. It is what it is. And that to me was so off putting. It felt so lonely. It felt like I was being pushed away. I needed some answers. If I was going to, devout to this, and I never got any. All I ever was told was, you know what, basically go away. We'll be praying for you. You should pray. And that was that. And I was angry, confused, and my stupid, mind that was so into this, all I ever did was, press on and say, you know what, maybe there's some purpose to this. Come a few years later, I'm addicted to alcohol, substance. And all I'm doing at this point is putting it all in my faith. Still putting this all in God. Yet I'm still addicted. I can't get away. All I can do is sin. And you know what? I can't give myself any of the credit for anything good I do. You know why? Because you're taught anything good is done through the good of God, the glory of God. That's all it is. You dare fucking credit yourself for, anything good that you do. It's not you. It's God working through you. You go home after that good deed and you praise God and tell him thank you. You give thanks to him for the good that was done through you, not because of you. I was so absurdly insecure and so depressed and so sad. I hated being in my own skin. I used it was like using God as a high, as a temporary fix. And that was it. And then once God was out of the image, I had to go back to hating myself. But at the same time, talking to God felt lonely anyways. It felt like nothing was happening. But I kept doing it, and eventually, no, it wasn't doing it for me. And I was just a sad, pathetic teenage boy with nothing but addiction and flaws that couldn't do anything right. I was a terrible person. I was troubled and in trouble, and nothing could fix it. I had pressed on, praying, talking to my mentors, my pastors, everything, staying involved with the church, yet nothing was giving. I I couldn't do the suffering anymore. I couldn't. So eventually I decided I'm staying away from the church. I'm staying away from all these activities within the church. I'm taking a break pretty much. And what I began to find was once I took my eggs out of that whole fucking Christianity basket and I started putting them, here, there, this, that, and, it wouldn't go well all the time with putting, your faith in things that are not God, but a lot of the time, if you're smart enough and you're wise enough and, you have good enough people in your life, things get better. And as I completely started relying on myself and other people, I started just being a good person and I started crediting myself with, the good that was happening in my life. I became happier. I was much happier and satisfied, and with it, I was able to conjure up, the resource and the willpower, and um, I had support to help me get through my addictions. At last, a few months of work, progress, crediting myself, surrounding myself with good people, I was better than I had ever been in this religious way of life that did nothing for me but just leave me there to die while I praised some fucking thing on my knees that didn't seem to be helping or allowed me to suffer, allowed me to nearly bring myself to suicide, a failed attempt. I am a failed attempt at suicide, and not a lot of people know that. I'm pretty sure even the closest people in my life don't know that to this day. My parents don't know that. I got away lucky, and even while I was a Christian, I thought about it. I wanted to. It was so hard to keep on living. Ever since things changed and I stopped, it became so much easier. It became easier to love people. I found love finally. The one girl I thought in my life that God had planned for me, God had found planned my partner. I'm to find out she's getting fucking dicked down by some other guy who was involved in the church. Yeah, the woman me and everyone else believed was meant for me did that shit, and here I am. I found today. In contrast, I've found me a girl that's good for me. I love, and someone I really really trust, and she's loved my life. And ever since I left the ways of Christianity, my fear of love has dwindled. I'm in love and I'm happy, and I'm so with it. Um, it's so crazy just how much I can't ever go back. I'm scared to. Being a Christian was traumatizing, and it was scarring, and I lost people. I lost friends. I lost a friend. She took her life. And to this day, I forget spitting her out that fucking nonsense that did nothing for her when I could have just been there as a human and a friend, not some preachy asshole. And some of you may know recently, but I lost a friend recently to a drug overdose who the last, we only ever met at church. He was a friend I met at church. And he had overdosed on drugs. And he passed not too long ago. And I know he was about the Steve-Odd way of life of Christianity as I was. And I'm sure he was going through whatever I was going through, but he wasn't as lucky as me. So it's just anytime I look back at it, anytime I even let it in, anytime I surround myself with it, it feels like only bad can happen. And you know what? If you're one of my Christian friends, fuck it. Blame it on Satan, okay? You can say I'm too weak. You can say I'm just, I'm not faithful enough. But you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I did. You don't know all the hard work I put in. I was one of the most hardworking Christians I've ever known. Yet what did it do for me? Nothing. And come later on, I find out the most heartbreaking, thing I heard of at this point. My little sister, I know she was about this. She was about this, Christianity life, this, as much as I was. I'd witnessed it growing up. Her and I grew up in the church. We were always involved in the same activities. We were the siblings that put their hands up in the air and said "Kumbaya." That was us. And I learned maybe a couple years ago this year, or I had a feeling for a long time. My sister turned out to be gay, and it's that was something so strange to me because I was like, of all the people, it'd be one of the most like Christian people I've ever known personally. My little sister. Like, I don't know what she went through or how hard that was. I don't know what she thought at that point, but that must have been hard. And I know it was hard on her because my parents, um, maybe some of her other colleagues or other friends who were Christians, some of her mentors and her pastors, like, I don't, because I know what I went through with this. So I'm not sure what she went through being gay and having to confess and open up about that, especially in our conservative Christian household. Fuck, man. And I guess here's a little bit of a rant of Christianity that really kind of pisses me off when I think about it. So you have a friend who's maybe atheist or not Christian or has a different belief. Um, Especially people that maybe have denounced like religion or have come out as being atheist or something of the sort. I remember sitting with my friends, and they would talk about how they don't want to believe in the shit that I keep preaching, and to sit there and say, you know what, you're gay, you don't believe, etc. You know what, we're still friends, and I love you and I support you. But to know in my head that, one day this person I keep saying I love and support has to die and go to hell one day. My fucking God, is that weird to think about someone. And now I'm pretty sure people would feel the same way about me. Sitting across the table from me, maybe out having a good time, you know, telling me they love me and support me and all these things, but thinking in the back of their head, wow, this person is really going to hell. And I'm okay with this. How is that okay with anyone? How is that okay with Christians? How was that ever okay with me? That's so fucking weird. Like, how would it feel like, being with someone and all they can think in the back of their mind while they look at you is, man, good luck in hell, bro. Like, yeah, you're a good person, you're my friend, and I love you, but you don't deserve heaven. That is so fucking strange, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't look at anyone in the eye, you know, and think that about someone. That's so fucked. Not only that, it applies to literally everything else. Like, how can, you know, I'm not gonna name names, some of my Christian friends, they're out here, you know, pro-abortion, right? Completely contradicting your own fucking beliefs and what that says. It is completely wrong in the Bible and the belief. And to see these people that believe in God and are devout Christians say they are, pro-abortion, it's your choice, it's your choice, completely fucking ignoring the shit that they believe in. It is so weird to me, and that you can completely contradict yourself and lie to yourself these types of ways. And I don't know, to this day, I think it's the most ridiculous thing ever you could believe in. I I don't know. Not that I have a problem with people being Christian, as long as you don't bring that shit towards me. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I've been through it. I'm the last person you should try to save at this point. And look, if any of you see this and you want to, try to, I'm not here to have you try to change my mind, talk me back into it or anything. If you do, if you still do, even after the warning, honestly, like, fuck you for not listening to me. Um, Everything can be cool. We can keep the peace and all that shit. You know, let's just, get along, right? And sorry to all my Christian friends, but yeah, you will have to look at me from across the table, or you will have to think about me and think, yeah, that guy's going to hell. You know what? That sucks, but whatever. I still love you guys. You guys are great. You guys have been friends with me for a reason all this time, and thank you. But yeah, that's my fucking. I've come clean. I confess. Um, I'm not about this shit, and I'm not going back. I'm happy now. Just be happy that I'm happy. Support me, love me, and I'll always be doing the same for you. So that's my story, and that's my little mini rant. When will funny videos come out? You might be thinking. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Yo, one last point. Sorry if I sound like a corpse husband on a load of helium after a hangover. And there's no gameplay, sorry, but one last little point. It kind of connects to the whole trying to convince me thing to come back or whatever, and um, yeah, okay, so real quick, I guess my last problem with this whole belief thing is there are so many like different ways of Christianity, like so many like ways of Catholic, like it's like a species of like thousands of within like the same family, pretty much. And it feels like no belief has like 100% to the Bible. Like how come like so many have just different ways of seeing things? Like you say, okay, well I believe in this. This is my branch of belief, and like, uh, nah, our branch doesn't really believe this. Another branch is like, wait, hold on, those are both wrong. This is what we believe, and this is constant. even like religions underneath the same name, like Methodist. I remember so many times I would say like, my beliefs to a fellow Methodist, and they'd be like, "Well, no, this is what I personally believe, and this is my personal opinion, so I believe this." It's like, what the fuck? Like, why is everyone just like, everyone bends like so many things to fit them personally and think that's completely okay in their mind? Like, what if it's wrong? What if one whole branch is wrong? Like, what if, your personal belief is complete? Like, it's so just people like take dope like so many doses of copium whenever they like don't like a belief in their own belief, and so that they just completely bend it to be their own, and they convince themselves that's okay. It's weird. And I bring this up because like, well, people are gonna be like, well, how much sexuality in my personal belief, or in my personal branch of religion, Christianity, Catholic, like it's okay. Like, it's going to happen so many times. I don't care. Like, all of you seem fucking crazy to me. Like, I mean, I just read the book that I know. I mean, at the same time, there are so many different Bibles. Like, it feels like the Book of Mormon is like somebody who didn't even speak English who tried to translate it, like Pokemon Vietnamese version. Um, it's ridiculous. Like, there's too much that's too different, and it's so like I don't know what to believe, so I don't want to come back. Like, you guys are a fucking mess. You guys need to get your shit together and just come to an agreement. Maybe you'll be more convincing. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Bye.